Dungeons and Dragons. The sounding of the final thunders. The final thunders, the indigenous grandfathers told us, in 1982, will last for over 40 years, as it is now seen. Humanity is presently experiencing the throes of the greatest initiation it has ever endured. This is the final step before we begin to ascend into a higher light order, taking on the true nature of an evolved solar species, and enter a multi-dimensional galactic reality. As the spring equinox 2000 approaches and throughout the first decade of the new century, great solar forces of Father's Sun will continue to increase in velocity. I felt that this year, I'm sure of it. As they build up, the solar winds of change are altering forever the subtle balances of Mother Earth's energy. And humanity itself will enter a climactic juncture. We have suddenly found ourselves at the end of a long forgotten cycle, and it is harvest time. As you look around, you will notice we are not unlike the ants who, just before a storm, slip into a state of hyperdimensional transition and scurry about in a robotic frenzy. Caught in the currents of change, humanity desperately stumbles. With our limited abilities and technology, through the fragments of debris left behind by our ancestors, who once communicated with those from beyond the sun. Yes, they were star voyagers, and we are their star seed descendants. Against all odds and competing with the ticking of the clock, we seek to piece together the truths of our origins and what happened to them. Wondering occasionally, were they us? I wonder that. I just got chills. I wonder that. I wonder. Wonderfully wandering throughout wonderful worlds, like a whirlpool of worlds. When the shift hits the fan, energies are shifting, and the physics of cause and effect seem to no longer apply. The mystical essences composing the geometry of our holographic reality vaporize as they transcend into other realities. It is time now to prepare for what once seemed to be fairy tales of the future. Giddy up, scientists. Yep. Stories told by shaman of the days to come, and the wars of the heavens have been recorded upon the cliffs and the caves, where some took shelter for a time. And apparently some have graffitied all over, removing. Doesn't mean you can't see what's there. You just gotta look past the destruction and the defilement that mankind, two-leggeds, have caused. Say I'm staring at a boulder that had a petroglyph on it, for instance. But the petroglyphs that were once there are now covered by layers and layers of graffiti, and then that shit that you put over the rock to make it look like a rock again. If approached correctly, I believe everyone is capable of seeing, kiss the sight, the third eye, those petroglyphs through via toxic paint chemicals. Just discipline, practice, time, space, and patience, and sight. And for those that have prescience, foresight, these times are bumpy. My heart's heavy. I'm going to continue reading. Remember how we sat around in circles, waiting in anxious anticipation for the next word to come forth from Zardar, demonstration only, who was some kind of entity from another time and another world, channeling through the innocence of one of our sisters or brothers, telling us how we became divine children of a mythical race. Not so mythical. Nope. We would take breaks and eat sprout sandwiches while we camped out for days in tents. We endured all sorts of inclement weather just to hear the words that affirmed within us some fantasy that justified why we are not content here in our present dream. Remember leaving everything behind? Selling all that you owned to find a new dream? Do you remember? You've got to break that spell of species with amnesia. You, friends, you thought you were crazy, and your children prayed for your salvation from the dark forces that possessed you and stole you away. Remember sleeping in vans and calling the children to tell them you were okay? Well, welcome to the alchemical garden. You have made it this far through the labyrinth. Those of us who were adventurous dared to break away from the mold to explore the new frontiers of consciousness. And will not be disappointed with what is about to occur. The seventh thunder is about to change. Complete change. Paradigm shift. Utter and complete alchemical change. When all warnings have been exhausted and the web of life can no longer hold the essence of life force any longer. Grandfather will declare a new dream to be woven, and he will call Iktomi Wachopte, Spider Woman. She will begin to spin her web of magic to create a new earth. Today has been victorious in many ways, but I feel the battle has just begun, and Creator is calling on his very best warriors, those who are called. The time is now. All hands on deck. Starseeds, fellow rainbow warriors, whatever the name, you are my brothers and sisters, and the meek shall inherit the earth and redefine progress. This is a heart-led rebellion. It's not about red or blue anymore. It isn't. Don't lose sight of why we are here. can't let those differences divide us any longer. I love you. I love myself. And I'll say, angels with you, angels before you, and angels of light after you and your loved ones, always. Humanity is now on the chopping block. We got this. That's all I'm gonna say. The I shouldn't really be there. It should be us's and we's. I'm no different. I have programming too. Stay strong. Keep going. Never give up. Things are about to get really bumpy. It's gonna get wild. But just know that you are not alone. And you got fam. If you come across this video, you have family. Cats, see the categories. And the felines are what's up. I rambled a bit, but it is the 7th of November, 2020. And I'll be wrapping up Ghost Wolf's manuscripts pretty soon here. Never felt the push to read these. One book sat on my desk for 5 years before I listened to the call. Before I was clear enough that I was actually listening and paying attention to the message that was being sent to me. I ignored it quite a bit, and the universe bitch slapped me a ton of times. So just know you're not alone. Your tribe is here, and we are here to be the change. We are here to speak the language of the heart. The English language doesn't do language justice. I like this new language, the language of one. Meow. The language of one. Like Brother Ali says, blind in the eyes so I see you with my heart. Let's all try to speak the language of the heart. Those who still have one. And we gotta learn to stand on moving ground. Shit's about to get bumpy, like I said. So prepare yourselves. Learn to stand on moving ground. In the Kash Alakin Lilawakan. Oh.